just because somebody's black doesn't mean that they're well versed on black skin. Everyone else in that office, you know? Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing absolutely amazing today. So a couple weeks ago, or maybe it was days ago, I can't quite remember. I'm really not good with time. Anyways, recently I posted on my Instagram stories that I had been getting laser hair removal and that it has been some of the best money that I have ever spent in my life. And I got a lot of questions, a lot of DMs, a lot of responses of people just asking like, girl, what is the tea on laser hair removal? People asking how much it costs, where I go, like, how did I find someone that's good with dark skin? All the questions. So I figured, why not just make a video about it and answer some like FAQs, frequently asked questions that I feel like I had before I started the process. And I feel like a lot of people have that like stopped them from getting laser hair removal. So if you're interested, then just keep watching. All right, so the first question that I actually want to address is why I personally considered laser hair removal. I don't necessarily think it's right for everybody. I don't necessarily think that everybody needs to spend the money on it, but I do feel like for me, it was very much necessary, specifically because when it comes to my underarms and also my Brazilian area, I struggle really bad with ingrown hairs and post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. And ingrown hairs specifically are exacerbated whenever I shave or whenever I get waxing as well. So I used to only shave, and then I heard that getting waxed would help with ingrown hairs, and I started getting waxed, and honestly, that made my ingrown hairs significantly worse. Like, I would get painful cysts. Like, this might be TMI, but sometimes my cysts from ingrown hairs would get so inflamed and so like large that it would be painful to sit down. So then I decided to get electrolysis because I have a friend who got electrolysis, or like she gets electrolysis, and it works really well for her. So I got electrolysis on both underarms, and this was like right before the pandemic hit. And honestly, within maybe like 6 months, all my hair had grown back, and it was essentially like I had never gotten electrolysis. If you don't know what electrolysis is, it's essentially like this really, really tiny needle that they go and they like enter each hair follicle and like zap the follicle, and like the hair slides right out because it kills, or it's supposed to kill the hair follicle so that hair won't grow back. So because I tried shaving, because I tried waxing, and because I tried electrolysis, I kind of felt like laser hair removal was my last resort. I could not, or I really still cannot think of any other options for hair removal. So I decided to explore laser hair removal, and I am very glad that I did. The areas that I decided to do laser hair removal on are my underarms and also my full Brazilian, I mean like front all the way to the back. I considered doing my legs, but honestly, I don't have a whole lot of hair growth on my legs. When my hair does grow on my legs, it's still very like thin. You can't really see it. Like, it's not like my legs don't be bushy. You know what I'm saying? So I figured I'm fine to shave my legs. Next, a lot of people asked me where I'm going for laser hair removal. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the process of how I found the right provider. And ultimately, I did a lot of like Google searching, Instagram searching, and then also asking friends who I know have gotten laser hair removal before. And there were 3 criteria that I personally was looking for when it came to like finding the right provider. First and foremost, do you know how to do laser hair removal on my complexion? I have seen too many horror stories of people getting burned by lasers, getting laser hair removal. And I personally have gotten, I have gotten burned by lasers on my face. An esthetician who like said she knew what she was doing, literally like burned my skin off. Like, I've made a whole video about this. If you haven't seen it, definitely like check it out. I'll leave it in the cards and in the description box. But I know how damaging lasers can be on darker skin if you don't have the right laser and the right person performing the treatment. So I needed to see like before and afters of dark skin patients, not just black patients, dark skinned Black patients. And then secondly, I was also looking for providers who had specific lasers that work well on darker skin. So that would be the diode laser or the ND YAG laser. Those are the two laser hair removal lasers that work really well for darker skin. And then third was competitive pricing, because look, this is not cheap at all, but I also understand that you get what you pay for. So I wanted someone with competitive pricing. I wasn't necessarily looking for the cheapest pricing in the game. You know, I was just looking for like competitive pricing. I didn't want to be overcharged, but I also didn't want to go to someone where it was like, you charging so little because you have so little experience. So based on that, I did a consultation with Laser Away, and I talked to a rep on the phone, got pricing, all that kind of stuff, asked my questions. And then I also ended up going to a boutique med spa here in Atlanta called WIFH, and I did an in-person consult with them. And based on just me and the comfort level and how they made me feel and how they answered their questions and pricing, I decided to go with the boutique med spa here in Atlanta. And I mean, so far so good. I really don't have any complaints about them. I will say that when I went to that med spa, I was like, man, there are no Black people that work here. There's one, I think she may be like a dermatologist. Like, she does more like maybe not plastic surgery, but more high level procedures, but she doesn't do laser hair removal. But everyone else in that office, you know? So that made me a little on the fence about them, but they did have like before and after pictures of dark skinned patients getting laser hair removal. Also, the time that the esthetician burned my skin on my face with a laser, she was Black. So what I have to constantly remind myself is like, just because somebody's Black doesn't mean that they're well versed on Black skin. All right, so the question that most people probably have is, how much does it cost? Obviously, that's gonna depend on where you go, what part of the country you're in. Just like a bunch of different factors will impact how much it costs, but I will be very transparent with how much I'm paying for mine. So for my underarms and my Brazilian, again, front to back, and that also includes the Happy Trail, it's a little less than $1,700. So I think like $1,691 is the exact amount. And as I mentioned, I did a consult with Laser Away. Unfortunately, I deleted my text thread from them because I just didn't need it anymore. So I can't remember the exact amount. However, I know it was at least $2,500, if not more, for the same areas. And then also something with pricing is that typically no matter where you go, there are financing options or like payment plans, because again, it's a lot of money. So the first option was, of course, to just pay it outright in full upfront. The second option was to do in-house financing, and that's basically where I could have paid 4 installments to the med spa directly. And then I want to say it was about like a 25, like each payment, with each payment, there was going to be a $25 processing fee or interest fee, or I don't know, some sort of fee. So I would have ended up paying $200 more than just the price of the laser hair removal. And then lastly was financing through one of their partners. You could finance either 6 months or 12 months and just pay it over the course of 6 months or 12 months. It's a soft pull, so it doesn't impact your credit. At least the credit pull doesn't impact your credit. And there's 0 interest as long as you pay like on time, as long as you pay within the 6 or 12 months. And then I got a lot of just like random questions about different parts of the process of laser hair removal. So I want to touch on that a little bit. So essentially, when you get laser hair removal, you buy packages, which depending on where you go, it's a certain number of sessions. Where I go, it's a package of 8 sessions. So that means I have to go 8 times, and in each session, I get all the parts of my body that I'm getting lasered done in one session. It takes, on average, maybe 10 minutes. Honestly, sometimes less than that. I do think if you get larger areas like your legs, obviously that's gonna take much longer, but I feel like my areas are pretty small. So I'm in and out probably no lie, within like 15 minutes. Before each session, you do have to shave. They say shave within like 48 hours. I like to shave as close as possible to my appointment, but still making sure that it's like the day before. I never shave the day of. I think that's just like cutting it too close. So I like to shave like the night before if I'm going in the afternoon. So a little less than 24 hours, but I find that the closer you do it to the appointment, the less you feel it. And you wanna make sure that you get a real good close shave, because there have been some times where I would like miss a couple hairs and like not only do you feel it, but you smell it. And that's the worst. That's the worst part to me, is actually like smelling the hair burning off. So yeah, you wanna make sure that you get a real good shave. It is tough, it's not easy, especially like getting in the back, getting that crack. It ain't easy, but you get some help if you need to, but just like try and get as close of a shave as you possibly can. Something else I do before each session is apply numbing cream. So not everyone uses numbing cream. I feel like a lot of people actually don't use numbing cream, but I'm like, why feel pain if I don't have to? And I apply my numbing cream about 2.5 to 3 hours before each appointment. If you can do numbing cream, I would definitely recommend it, because it helps significantly with the pain. I barely feel anything at all on my underarms, and then on my Brazilian, I feel it, but it just feels like a small needle just like poking me. It doesn't really feel super, super, super painful. And essentially what she does is she takes the laser and then she just like treats each area by like zapping each part of the section. So each part of my underarms, each part of my Brazilian. In addition to the laser, you also have like a cold gust of wind like blowing on your skin at all points, which helps to kind of alleviate the feel or the pain from the laser. After each appointment, I do get like new hair that regrows, but it's dead hair, so it just falls right out the follicle. I don't even have to shave it or anything. It literally, like, when it grows, I can just like pick it out of the follicle and it'll come right out. Let's talk about my results thus far. I have had 3 sessions. Each session is 6 weeks apart, and I have had virtually no hair to grow back. And this was like starting after my first session. I had very little hair to grow back. On my underarms, I have had almost no hair grow back. I would say maybe like 3% of my hair on my underarms has grown back. And then for my Brazilian, the first time, no hair grew back. The second time, it was like very little fine baby hairs. And after the third, I haven't really had any hair to grow back other than the dead hair that falls out the follicle. And lastly is my skin is just so much more smooth, and it's also starting to brighten up as well. So my underarm skin is a lot more smooth. My bikini line, look, it's not perfect, but when I tell you, it is so much better than it used to be. I used to be quite self-conscious about wearing a swimsuit because my bikini line just had like ingrown hairs. It had razor bumps. It was just super dark. Like, my bikini line, oh, I used to hate wearing bathing suits, but now, and I'm not even done with all 8 treatments, but I feel so much more confident now. So far, I don't regret it. And like I said in my Instagram stories post, it is actually some of the best money that I have ever spent in my life. And I just don't know why I didn't do it sooner. So yeah, if this was helpful, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see y'all in my next video. Peace.